This tutorial is for the Elora by Lenore DIY embroidery kits using a letter stencil. This one is for if you would like a floral letter without using the stick and stitch. In your kit, you will have received this letter stencil on cardboard. All you have to do is cut it out. Place your stencil directly in the centre of your sweater, and then using your water-soluble marker, you're going to trace an outline of the letter. Now you're going to mark even spaces in the letter. It's up to you how big you would like those spaces to be, but this is the size that I like because I like quite large florals. Then pop a dot in the centre of each square because that is where we'll start each floral. Now you're going to use your blunt needle. You're going to thread your chosen colour of yarn through your needle and tie a knot on the other end. This is how I do it. I just wrap it around my finger and slide it off, and then pull it straight. So for this part here, I'm going to do a lazy daisy. You come up through the centre, back down through the centre, and out to the edge, and you're going to pull through. Now, don't pull too tight because you'll find that you buckle your sweater. So you have to be really quite gentle with this process. And you're going to go over the edge and then back down through the same hole and then back up through the centre. I have a separate video that shows the yarn stitch sampler, which is a very, very straightforward, direct way of showing you each of the different stitches. So make sure you go back and watch those videos because it shows you how to do lazy daisies, woven roses, every kind of stitch that you'll need for your sweater embroidery. Now you'll want to get your petals to go to the edge of the stencil that you've already outlined, and that will make sure that the entire floral letter looks really even and neat. Twist the sweater in the direction that you're stitching. It makes it much easier to stitch in the same direction each time. It keeps those petals looking really even and really neat. You don't have to tie off after each and every floral. You can simply just move straight over to the next one, particularly if you'd like the next floral to be the exact same. This is how I tie off my lazy daisies. You just need to thread through 2 or 3 times. Make sure you're not pulling too tight because otherwise you'll affect the stitches on the top of the sweater. For the last one, I only pull halfway through and then I tie those 2 ends in a knot. First knot I don't pull too hard because otherwise I'll pull the thread. Second knot I tie hard, third knot very hard. And then you just snip off right near the edge. Now the next bit is I'm going to mark some smaller circles within the squares. I've got this round circle stencil, but you can use anything. You can just freehand circles, you can use the stencils of lids of jars, you can use any kind of circle stencil outline that you might have. You can make the circles as big or as small as you like, but I'm going to do 3 circles within this quite large area here. So I'm going to do some roses and a smaller Lazy Daisy. I've chosen a pink yarn for these roses. With this one, when you tie off the knot, leave a little tail at the end. So this is how you do a woven rose, okay? So you're going to make 5 straight stitches directly into the center. Try to keep them as evenly spaced out as possible. Then you're going to come up through beside one of the stitches, and then you go under every second stitch as you rotate around. If you would like a slower, more clean, direct version of this, please go and watch the Yarn Stitch Sampler Woven Rose tutorial. With that tail that you left, it's very easy to tie a triple knot, exactly like I showed you with the Lazy Daisies. First one is not too tight, second is tight, and third is very tight, and then you just snip off. For this second rose, I'm just making it smaller, so those straight stitches just go out to the edge of that smaller circle, and you complete the process as before. I've added some more daisies, and here on this edge, I would like to add a larger rose, so I'm adding a larger circle. You absolutely do not have to follow this pattern. The great thing with these letter stencils is it gives you the freedom to make any kind of floral letter pattern that you'd like. You can pop any Lazy Daisy, any rose, any colour, anywhere you like. Here I'm using my stencil again, and I'm marking 3 more circles. This time I'm just going to do smaller Lazy Daisies though, instead of more roses. Just a personal preference, but again, you can do any kind of style of flowers anywhere that you like. It's really easy to do smaller Lazy Daisies. All you have to do is take your petals out to the edge of that new stencil line that you've created. This last petal that I've done here, I'm really unhappy with it because it looks significantly larger than the other petals. So I'm actually going to undo it and redo it until I'm happy. It's perfectly okay to make mistakes along the way. Now I'm going to be adding some French knots to the centres of each of my Lazy Daisies. So you pull through until you feel the knot at the end. Then you're going to wrap your yarn around your needle twice. Go down through a different hole. You're going to pull your yarn tight, hold in place with your thumb and pull through. Now if you would like a clearer, slower, more direct version of this, please watch the Yarn Stitch Sampler French Knots tutorial. I go through it very slowly and very clearly. To keep your yarn neat on the back, thread through the closest flowers to get to the next daisy, and then you just continue your French knots. If you would prefer, you can tie off after every single French knot. It's a personal preference. I don't mind the mess at the back because nobody ever sees it, but if you would prefer to keep it much neater, you can tie off after every single French knot. And this is how you tie off. Just thread through a couple of times. Don't pull too hard. Then when you're ready, only pull halfway through and then tie off those two ends tightly and then snip off. Now for the greenery. You can choose any colour for this. Obviously green is a good go-to, but all you have to do is some straight stitches and you can fill up beside the florals. You can fill up as many as you like. You can make it as dense as you like. But I don't like it super dense. I like to add just a few bits of greenery, as you'll see here. Beside the roses, it's always good to add some Lazy Daisy stitches because they look like leaves, which can add a really nice touch to your roses. But again, personal preference as to what you would like it to look like. And now you've finished your design. Well done. To remove the water-soluble marker, add just a pinch of bicarb soda to cold water and spray away. Absolutely soak it through so that you get every single last bit of that blue marker. Absorb some excess water with a towel, and then you're going to lay it flat to dry overnight. And here's your finished piece. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to Elora by Lenore's YouTube channel for more videos like this.